Hours here, Alex, but it looks like probably within the next, say, 4 or 5 hours, we'll expect landfall.
Yes, and you mentioned the tornado threat. There's the severe risk, the flash flood risk, the river flooding risk, wind threat. So a lot on the table here with Francine as we watch this over the next few hours. Possibility of severe weather, best chance zone in that darker shade of red. So that would be around Morgan City, New Orleans, Gulfport, and Biloxi, Mobile, through the western part of the Florida peninsula, or rather Panhandle, Destin to Panama City to Apalachicola. These would be areas with a little better chance of seeing a tornado. Now, the Torcon not overwhelmingly high, 3 out of 10 on that scale, 2 as you make your way farther to the north. But as Mike mentioned, these are very quick spin-ups, a lot of times in these outer bands of a hurricane. Right now, we've seen some of that heaviest of rain working through the New Orleans area. That's exactly what Justin Michaels is dealing with now. And honestly, for the next several hours, he's going to be dealing with some of that heavy rain. So I-10, I-55, I-59, they're going to be roadways you want to avoid at all costs today. It's just not a great day to be out there on the roads. Travel is going to be slowed. It's going to be difficult to see if you're out there in some of these bands. And again, there's that severe risk as well. As we mentioned, with some of these, the velocity scans, they're quick. So they're quick hitting tornadoes a lot of times on the weaker end. But again, can't rule out stronger tornadoes. We've seen it as recently as with Beryl. I had some of those tornadoes getting up to EF2, even EF3 strength. So something to keep in mind here as we go through the afternoon. If a tornado watch is issued, or rather warning for your area, you want to get to that safe spot, lowest level, most interior room. Storm making landfall this afternoon. Again, that heavy rain going to stick around a place like New Orleans through the dinner time hour, even through much of the evening. Now, it's moving, but it's going to take some time to move as it lifts off towards the north. Now, I think New Orleans, you're going to see that rainfall back off as we get closer to the late evening hours. So 10, 11 o'clock. Yeah, it's still raining, but the rainfall rates back off. But between now and then, be prepared for the possibility that water could be piling up, especially in the city. We know how susceptible, vulnerable they are to flash flooding. That'll be something to watch for. Mobile, southern parts of Mississippi, you guys are still in the heavy and moderate rainfall through the late evening. Overnight now, Hattiesburg up to Jackson, western sections of the state of Alabama, and still watching those bands over into parts of the Florida Panhandle. That would continue to bring the tornado threat as we move through the overnight. Want to give you a look at Grand Isle, Louisiana. New Orleans is our Justin Michaels, our national correspondent. Justin, you know, a city that has had recent history with these storms. This one is going to bring some very heavy rain, possibility of power outages. But for a city that's so flood prone, I'm sure it's the rain that they're watching super intensely.
No, certainly. In fact, I know the current forecast for here, Alex, is...
And then we watch what else is going on in the Atlantic. As Dr. Nav expected, we've got quite a bit happening from Hurricane Francine to a new area to watch off the Carolina coastline. We've got 2 Invest and now Tropical Depression 7. That had a high chance of formation yesterday, and now we've got a tropical depression with that one. Area to watch here off the Carolina coast. We're going to have this boundary. Of course, the remnants of Francine expected to move north, and then a piece may break off. So 30% chance of development hanging around, lingering near the coast of the Carolinas, also off the coast of Georgia. So the 7-day development area does keep where that front's going to be lingering right off the Carolinas, Georgia, even Florida. So a meandering area that we'll be watching here in the coming days, probably in the longer range for the better chance of development, but could see something spin up into the late weekend, early part of next week. That would be something to watch for. Here's your pressure and precip from the USGFS. Watch as the rain showers become a little bit more concentric here by late Sunday and into Monday. Could we be looking at heavy rain in places like Wilmington or Myrtle Beach, and that system moving onshore into the early part of next week? Certainly a possibility that would bring more rain also to parts of the mid-Atlantic. And notice it stays soggy in these areas through Tuesday. European model, similar. We've got that area of low pressure hanging out off the coast, and like the GFS, it would be into Monday morning for potentially some heavy rain from North to South Carolina. As we head to break, another